morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Happy Monday. I was distracted there because Chang just sent me a couple of photos of his beautiful family. Absolutely gorgeous. So hope everyone is doing well and had a lovely weekend. I'm joined as always on a Monday by Jimbo and Chang. Mr. Jimbo, how you diddling?
I'm good, thank you. I'm just looking at the photos. They're so gorgeous.
I know they're beautiful.
Is it
brown?
Is it Father's Day there?
We're actually celebrating 1 week in advance because there's a very big possibility I might miss out meeting them next coming weekend if I have to work over the weekend. So I have to forsake the coming weekend by doing an early celebration yesterday on Sunday. But you know what? It's not really the accuracy of the dates or anything. It's really the thought that matters, and I'm very thankful, if anything, to be able to spend time with them, given my job, my day-to-day life, and even think this that I do here on YouTube. It's a juggling. It's a bit of a juggling act, but one that I'm relishing, and I cannot wait to get into today's show with both of you.
I have to say, Chang, that cake looks frigging amazing. What flavour is it?
I think it's something, it's a combination of mango, peaches, and pomegranates.
It looks
basically
gorgeous.
Anything that looks yellow and orangey.
It looks good to me. You can't go wrong with a bit of cake, that's for sure. Let's have a look who's in the chat before we get started. We've got Scott Colliver, who gets first place prize, who said that he's excited for the show. Big up, Scott. Good afternoon to you, Jose. Lovely to see you. Make sure everyone goes over and subscribes to LTL Cockerell. He's working his way up to 500. He's smashed through 400. Now we've got to get him to 500. Good afternoon to you, Guna. Says morning pin up and lucky Jim. And afternoon, Mr. Chang. Big up, Guna. Hope you're well. Anthony Clark is in the house. Hello to you. Happy Monday. Kate, Jim and Chang, have you heard of that great player Emerson Cabernetti? Did you see this on the internet, Chang?
I have not seen this yet, but I think I have a clue as to what you are referring to. This Emerson Cabernetti.
Yes. Somebody called Harry did a super chat in Tottenham away and asked their opinion on empty cabinet, basically. And they actually went on to say that they rate him and there's a 50-50 chance they might get him before they clicked that it was all a wind-up. It was absolutely hilarious, I have to say. It was very, very funny. I'm terrified now that someone's going to get me. But I am quite open and will happily say when I've got no idea who someone is. But yeah, it was very, very funny. So if you haven't seen it, have a look. It's on TikTok, Instagram. It's gone quite viral. So big up to you, Benny. Hope you're well, my lovely. Afternoon, Drew La La. Hope you're doing well. And yes, it was funny. And you have to laugh sometimes. But it was very, 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 very funny. But today's show is all about transfer rumours and news. There's the link for LTL Cockerell. Well done, Chang, doing the modding status there. It's all about transfer news, rumours, not just at Tottenham, but anything that we've come across that's being discussed. Obviously, one of the big stories of the weekend that seemed to be everywhere at one time or another was that Eze, should I say, is close to signing for Tottenham, or that Tottenham have approached them. I was looking, they're saying he's valued at around 70 million euros. Apparently, he's got a gentleman's agreement in place with Crystal Palace that they will allow him to leave this summer. Chang, what's your thoughts on Eze? Do you see it happening? Do you want him? How do you feel about it?
I can see it happening if we meet Crystal Palace's asking price, because I read somewhere that Eberechi Eze extended his contract sometime in January during the winter transfer window. So to price him away so soon after extending his contract at Palace would be a big ask. Personally, If there was one player this coming summer transfer window, which I would absolutely smash our transfer record for, it would be Eberechi Eze. Think having to sign our very own Declan Rice, if that makes any sense. Try, of course, I wouldn't go so far as to offer up to £100 million for Eze. Although anything between the ranges of 75 to 85 million pounds plus add-ons might be tangible and practical for Enoch and Daniel Levy, I would prioritize him above anyone else. That is assuming that we are indeed keeping hold of Richarlison. If we are keeping hold of Richarlison and there is every chance that he might stay fit for the coming season, I would prioritize a winger first that can play on both the left and right wing. And for me, Eberechi ticks all those boxes. He fits the profile. He might even be our long-term replacement for Heung-min in years to come if Heung-min does indeed transfer the captain's armband to Romero in due time. So for me, Eberechi Eze is a no-brainer. But whether Daniel Levy is going to be stingy and not meet Crystal Palace's asking price is going to be a totally different matter. I can see this definitely happening if he is keen on staying in London. The only question now is how much Palace asking for him.
Exactly. I did read that said that Spurs want to try and sign him as soon as the window opens. They want him to be someone they sign immediately to get him sort of integrated into the team. And it also said that Eze's family have got very close ties with Tottenham, but it didn't elaborate on it too much. So I'm not really sure what happened there. But last year he had 27 appearances, 11 goals, 4 assists. So Jimbo, what's your thoughts on Eze? You're muted, darling. You're talking sense, but you're muted.
I'm just reading what a real gooner put. I'm convinced he'll be a Spurs player next year. I've seen him with we played them, what he was like with the Tottenham players cuddling. And have you seen the photos with him and Sonny together and him and Madders together, laughing and joking? So I think that he'll be a fantastic addition and someone we need.
Yeah.
But I'm convinced he'll be wearing a Tottenham shirt next year.
Well, I hope you're right. I'd be over the moon. I mean, I was a little bit sort of dubious as to whether they let Elise and Eze go. But it does say that they've promised Eze they'll allow him to leave this summer, providing their valuations met. But then we did have that with Tottenham did that with Harry Kane and Daniel Levy, and look what happened there. But
I was just going to say, let's hope that their chairman's a bit nicer than Daniel Levy and sticks to his word.
Yeah, exactly that. Big up to Bobby K, who came in while we were chatting, and Raymond as well, and AJ, who says, "Good afternoon, you lovely lot. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday. I'd love us to sign MET Cabinetti, quality player. Followed him all his career, much better than Turbo Vina." Do you know what? We was just talking about that. It's just I'm going to be very careful now. If anyone super chats me about a name, I'm going to be very careful before I comment. Eze is good, but has too many injuries, same as Elise. I was looking at Elise's stats. It's actually a bit of a fallacy. He only had 19 appearances this season, but last season he had 37, and the season before he had 26. So he's not overly injury prone. And Eze is pretty much the same. I don't think he's overly injury prone. I think he's just because they're that important to Palace. You notice them more when they're out. They're like their two key players. But Eze's agency are CAA, Spurs' best mates. Oh, okay. Big up to the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, John James. Good to see you, John. Thank you again for your generosity last week. Lovely to see you in the room. Hope you're well. Eze's an absolute must. He's a top quality player, a marquee signing. Yeah, I agree. You know, I think he wants to come. We obviously want him. It just is like Chang said, it's all going to be whether Levy opens up his wallet and pays what they want. But excuse my voice today. Since the Saturday night, I feel like I'm losing my voice. So excuse it if it sounds a little bit croaky. Steve Parrish is a hard-nosed businessman who won't be bullied. 100%, Ben, I agree. Big up Skills. Hope you're well. Good to see you. And Dave H as well. Eze would be good for us. I think so. I think he is a typical Ange type player. It'd be interesting to see what happens. We'll have to just keep an eye on that one. But yeah, that's the first topic. Obviously, following on from that, as I just mentioned, there is there's a lot of talk about Elise moving to Man United. It came out over the weekend that Bayern Munich have approached Man United to buy Bruno Fernandes, and with Man United needing to sell because of financial fair play, Bruno Fernandes is tipped to be one of the ones to leave. Elise, again, a player I like very much, and one of Crystal Palace's key players. Jimbo, do you see this happening, the old Elise to United business?
Well, I think if Bruno goes there, Bobby.
Big up, Bobby. Thanks for the super chat. Empty cabinet is solid. Arab dusty chelbs better. Go on, Jimbo. Sorry.
Yeah, if Bruno goes, I didn't know nothing about Bruno going until you told me this morning.
Yeah, there is a lot of rumours come out. Bayern Munich seem to be the ones in pole position to sign him, but Barcelona have also registered an interest in him. So, but I do think. Go on.
I'm wondering if Bruno's going to want to go now. If Ten Hag stays, because I think he gets on well with Ten Hag.
I don't think Bruno's going to have a choice. They need to sell some of their big names, and Bruno's the top of the list, I believe.
But I mean, yeah, I could see him going there. I don't see why not. A massive club, aren't they? One of the biggest clubs in the world. So why wouldn't he go there?
A lot of people have said that Chelsea are also very heavily interested in Elise, but Elise is a self-confessed Man United fan since birth. So, I mean, Chang, is this one you see happening?
Yeah, I definitely see this happening if United are willing to pay Palace's asking price. Again, it's the same case with us and Eberechi Eze with Palace, only that I think for Manchester United, it's going to be a lot easier for them to convince Olise to make the move over to Manchester. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Despite how bad you think they are doing in the league, they still keep on winning trophies and silverware. Even if it's just merely domestic cups, they still win. So for Olise to go there, I think it would be almost like the feather in his cap, the crowning glory of his career to be able to move to Manchester United. And for Bruno Fernandes to be moved on, I mean, he's 29, approaching 30. He's approaching his sell-by date. So is Son. So I think it will be a good bit of business if United can recoup anything from Bruno Fernandes. And despite what many people think, I think Bruno Fernandes still has a lot to offer to whichever club is willing to snap him up. So the moment Bruno Fernandes gets the green light to be offloaded, you can bet heavily that Olise will be following him through the incomings for Manchester United, this incoming transfer. Although I wouldn't entirely rule out Olise going to Bayern Munich, seeing as how Bayern Munich have already snapped up both Harry Kane and Dyer from England. So if they are really looking to beef up that midfield, who's to say that Olise won't choose Germany over Manchester? But if I were betting man, yes, I would say Manchester United, followed by Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I mean, I've just seen, obviously, I'm not a Manchester United fan. I'm going purely by what I've read and Fabrizio Romano's touched on and things. John James says he's not going anywhere. He's simply looking for better wages as he's paid a lot less than players at the club. And yet I've read today that it's Man United are happy to talk to Bayern Munich about it. He has got 2 years left on his contract, Bruno, so that, they would get good money for him. But I mean, like I say, John, you probably know better than me. But they're basically saying they need to sell before they can buy players like Elise. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, we very nearly bought Bruno Fernandes at one point, apparently, but I know that how much you like Bruno Fernandes, Jimbo.
Well, as a player, he's when he's on it, isn't he? But I don't like him as a person, not one bit. But I mean, he's their best player. Why would they sell him? I just don't make sense to me.
Big up, David. If Elise's going for 60 mil, how is Eze 70? Eze for 30 to 40, otherwise a big no coming from Palace fans. 70 million euros, that's what they've said. And they've said, I didn't read anything about how much Elise will be, but.
I wonder, John, I don't know if John James knows that what wages he's on.
Oh, Bruno?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might do. Let us know, John, if you know. Big up Ronnie. He said he'd take Eze over Elise every day. Both players have cost £60 million. No, Bobby, I am a Spurs fan. You wind up. Modric has played more Champions League matches than whole of Arsenal's history. Yeah, I mean, obviously, just to touch on the Champions League, I didn't watch any of it. We was partying. But I did predict Real Madrid to win it. They just know how to win the Champions League. It's like it's their competition. I feel like it should be called the Real Madrid Champions League trophy or something. 15 times now they've won it. Did you watch it, Chang, or did you watch any of it, or are you surprised?
I watched only the highlights in the morning because it was kind of late on a Saturday night for me to be staying up that late to watch a cup final that has nothing to do with Spurs. Although I was surprised, really, from what I saw in the first half. I mean, Borussia Dortmund were all over Real Madrid. How they did not score is, I think, it's just one of those cases of they just didn't have that experience, that know-how to squeeze out a victory when it matters most for them. Kind of like how we fell short against Liverpool by also the same 2-0 scoreline. And when Real Madrid opened the scoring with Daniel Carvajal, the shortest player on the pitch from a corner, you just have to question the defending. I mean, as much as I admire and absolutely adore Mats Hummels, I mean, some of the defending and the marking for Dortmund in the second half was atrocious. And I think it was encapsulated, or rather it was summed up, it sums up Dortmund's night when they pretty much gift wrap Real Madrid's second goal for them. That back pass should never have happened, not in a final, not at the dying embers of a game where you still have every opportunity to draw level before the 90th minute or even before full time and drag the game into extra time. That back pass, that giveaway should never have happened. And it was, I mean, it's kind of sums up Dortmund's shortcomings. And before I end my summary of that game, I think I have to give a shout out to Marco Reus, one of Dortmund's all-time longest serving player. I will have to admit that I actually have a bit of an affinity to him. I expected him to be signed by Spurs over a dozen years ago. This was sometime even before Pochettino took over. During AVB's time, I thought he was absolutely fantastic as a finisher, as a forward player for Dortmund. But sadly, he ends his career with Dortmund without silverware as well, which is a crying shame. But I mean, stranger things have happened, and congratulations to Real Madrid, who, from what I read, Luka Modric is now the club's all-time trophy serial winner. He has won more trophies with Real Madrid than any other player in Real Madrid's history. So congratulations as well to Luka Modric.
Yeah, I do love little Modric. I still think he's such a wonderful player. Like I say, I didn't watch it, but Jimbo did say Dortmund were the better team. But as someone just said, Beyond 72 just said, you don't take the chances, especially against a team like Real Madrid, you're going to get punished. Anything you wanted to add to it, Jimbo, or we want to move on?
Yeah, I wanted Dortmund to win, but first half they hit the post. They could have been 3-0 up first half. But you know, against Real Madrid, if you don't take your chances, you're going to lose because they will score. That's one thing Real Madrid do, is score goals. So they didn't take their chances and they got punished. But someone said to me the other day in the record books, it's going to say Real Madrid 2-0. It's not going to say Real Madrid 2-0, but Dortmund were the better team. So,
yeah.
You was right. I should have listened to you. You said that they just know how to win.
They do. Yeah. Probably the worst kept secret in football history. Kylian Mbappe, here we go. Every document has been signed, sealed, completed. Real Madrid set to announce Mbappe as new signing this week after winning the Champions League. Mbappe made the decision in February and is now considered a Real Madrid player. Someone just said it, John James. Imagine they've won 15 Champions League and now they've got Mbappe. They're unreal levels of ambition. They've got Ancelotti as manager. I mean, they're just incredible, aren't they, Jimbo? And now they've got, Mbappe, who's I think he's going to get even better now he's at Real Madrid. I don't know what you think about it all.
Yeah, of course they will. I mean, of course he's going to make them better. We had a family party Saturday night, but I did manage to watch the Champions League on and off. But someone at the party said to me, they went to the Burnabout and they said it was best stadium. The atmosphere is unbelievable. It's electric. But they're just a great team, aren't they? They're just one of the best teams there's ever been.
And I think now it's fair to say that I think they're levels above Barcelona. They were always pretty on par. I mean, Chang, do you agree with that? Do you think Real Madrid are moving further away now?
They are just pulling away further and further away. I think it's only going to be a matter of time before Barcelona go back into another few years of their dark ages before Messi signed for them. Honestly, I actually expected Mbappe to make his Real Madrid move before the last World Cup 2 years ago in 2022. But better late than never. I could see that PSG had every intent on making Mbappe a legend. If only they had somehow managed to get him and Messi and the likes of Sergio Ramos and Donnarumma getting their act together as a team and just winning everything in Europe, kind of like what Real Madrid are doing now. But sadly, it's not to be. And for Mbappe, I think it's only logical for him to make that move around the same time Bale made his move to Madrid from Spurs.
Yeah,
I can only see Real Madrid just going from strength to strength. Now that they have Mbappe, they are just going to overpower teams and just win by sheer brute force. They wouldn't even have to worry about the defense with Mbappe up front. It's just. I can't even. I wouldn't say it is monstrous. More like it's something to reckon with. And with his age, I think. With his age and Ancelotti at the helm at Real Madrid as well, I think the sky's the limit for Mbappe. And I think Barcelona will have a very, very difficult time to even keep up with Real Madrid, let alone stay in that top 2, top 3 category if Atletico Madrid strengthen before they do, seeing how Barcelona have problems of their own. So to Kylian Mbappe, congratulations on your move, and I look forward to seeing him smash it in La Liga.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people wanted. My camera's blurred. Is it? Is that better? I didn't notice.
It could be your signal. Actually, your camera is fine. It's just that your resolution has suddenly gone down if your latency or your connectivity isn't too good.
Okay. Hopefully it will improve. It does this sometimes at the beginning of a stream. Yes, of course, Arsenal thought they were getting Mbappe. I was going to say, I know a lot of people wanted Dortmund to win because we had the Olympiacos win the Conference League, you had Atalanta win the Europa League, but I wanted Real Madrid to win the Champions League. I just think they're just such a brilliant team. And such a good team to watch. And like I say, now with Mbappe, they're only going to get better and better. But big up Chelsea boy. He gets 150 million signing on fee, insane, plus keeps some of his image rights and wages. Yeah, that's what happens when you're that good, I suppose. Yes, well, the thing is, I'm using the hotspot on my iPhone, so I apologise if the quality's not great. The internet here isn't brilliant, but sometimes it stabilises the more we go, hopefully. As long as everyone can hear me, it don't matter if you can't see me. It's probably better that way anyway. Somebody else I wanted to talk about was Sudakov. Shakhtar Donetsk's player that Chelsea and Spurs have both shown an interest in. They don't want to, Shakhtar Donetsk have said they don't want to commit to selling him until he's played in the Euros in case he shines. He's 21 years old, price tag in the region of 65 million, which is huge, but the potential is meant to be enormous. Attacking midfielder, City, Arsenal, Liverpool also interested. Made 23 appearances last year or this season, 6 goals, 4 assists. Do you know anything about him, Jimbo, or is this the first time you're hearing of him?
No, I have heard of him. I've listened to some people talk about him, Sean, Tottenham TV. I don't really know a lot about him, but people say good things about him, and I've not read anything bad about him either. So
no,
yeah, but I can't sit here and say I know about him because I don't. Only what I've heard other people say and read. I've read a little bit about him.
65 million for a 21-year-old is a lot of money, so it's quite a big gamble, in my opinion. I mean, Chang, have you heard anything about this guy, or?
I unfortunately have not heard of him until today, or rather until the past 24 hours, since his name came cropping up all over social media. 21-year-old Ukrainian from Shakhtar Donetsk, the same club where we got Manor Solomon on a free from last summer, and even before Manor Solomon has come good, here we are linked again with another player from Shakhtar Donetsk, although he is 3 years younger than Manor Solomon, but unfortunately I can't say I've heard of him. But the highlights of him over in Ukraine with Shakhtar Donetsk, it looks promising. If anything, it kind of looks very similar to what Manor Solomon was for Fulham, and also for Shakhtar before he made the free move over to N17. Or at the end of the day, if this is the kind of player that fits Big Ange's Ange ball profile, and he's the kind of player that Big Ange fancies, whether it's his aptitude, his professionalism, his attitude on and off the pitch, then I'm all for it. But until he proves himself, I think we are just taking another gamble, because the last gamble from Shakhtar Donetsk, which would be Manor Solomon, who came to us on a free, that didn't quite work out. So neither did Brian Hill and a few other players who came to us around this age for a midfielder, or I think it's a left winger, a left midfielder. I can't really remember what it was, but yeah, he has yet to prove himself on Europe's biggest stage, let alone over in Britain. So I think the jury is still on him. But I mean, again, if this is the kind of player that Big Ange wants and he fancies, then I'm all for it, and I'm all for supporting the move if Levy is willing to sanction a transfer.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up what Mark CFC said. He is best friends with Modric. So if he does favour a move to Chelsea or Spurs, that might be the deciding sort of push to be of his best day. But I mean, we'll see. It's all paper talk at the minute. We'll see. Big up Shemtan, who says, afternoon to the beautiful Princess Kate, the ruggedly handsome Sir Jimbo, and the nicest, youngest looking old man, Mr. Chang. Bit late to the party one of those days. Lovely to see you. Angus, it was a mate. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, make sure everyone goes over sub to Jose. Another one, look, Suk Midikov. I'm not falling for it. Keep trying. Chang, I believe I believe there was a couple of players, or one or two players you wanted to talk about. One of them, I think, being this guy. Is that right?
Okay. Yep, this is him. So, all right, for this player, if anyone has not heard of Takefusa Kubo, he is a 22-year-old Japanese forward player. He plays on either wing for Real Sociedad. There's this clip from about 2 or 3 years back, before he was even 20, of him scoring a goal by nutmegging 3 players in a straight line. If you can imagine 3 players standing in a straight line, he scored a goal by nutmegging through 3 players. And that's not even the best part of the highlight reel. He reminds me every bit of Aaron Lennon. Back when Aaron Lennon first came to us from Leeds United, and he was absolutely tearing up the wings before we'd even heard of Gareth Bale. And if we are to get a long-term Asian replacement for Son Heung-min to try to stick with the Asian market in terms of our marketing and fandom, or rather the fan base, then for me, Takefusa Kubo is a no-brainer. If he even costs anything between the range of, say, 30 to 40 million pounds, I feel that he's worth every single penny. Although there are rumors now that Barcelona are going to try and get him before any other club in Europe do. So it's going to be a race between us and Barcelona to try and convince Real Sociedad to sell him to either Barcelona or to us. But if we can make a deal with Real Sociedad for Takefusa Kubo, then yes, I'm all for him as a not as a sure starter, but more as competition for both Brennan Johnson, Timo Werner, and Kulusevski.
Yeah, I mean, I did. Obviously, you mentioned this kid to me, so I did have a look. Apparently, he's been dubbed the Japanese Messi. So, I mean, that speaks a lot. But apparently, there's also a lot of interest again from Real Madrid, Liverpool, United, amongst other teams. 30 appearances last season, 7 goals, 4 assists. Sounds nice. Whether it will happen again, whether we could convince a young player like that to come and buy into the project, I don't know. But it's interesting. It was interesting to look at him, and yeah, he does look very good. He's tricky. He's a bit like Modric in a way. He's quite tricky, isn't he? So we'll have to keep an eye out. And was it Andrea Cambiaso you wanted to talk about as well?
That is correct. Okay, the other player I want to talk about is a 24-year-old fullback or a wingback for Juventus from Italy. Andrea Cambiaso, he can play on either wing. He can play left back, left wing back, right wing back. And I heard that we were actually heavily linked with him back in January, before we then decided to move for Dragushin instead of Cambiaso. For me, this has all the hallmarks of yet another Paratici signing. 24 years of age, can play down either wing, would be fantastic competition for his fellow Italian compatriot Destiny Udogi, or even competition for Pedro Porro down that right wing. If we are looking to, say, send Emerson Royal in the opposite direction to either Juventus or AC Milan, for me, it's a no-brainer getting Cambiaso if Juventus are willing to do a deal with us. The only stumbling block is that I'm hearing that Cambiaso is part of Juventus' long-term plans. So it might take something upwards, or rather north of 40 million pounds to even be able to get him to consider coming over to N17 and joining his Italian compatriot Destiny Udogi with us. But if the price is right, and if Juventus are willing to do business with us, what a fantastic signing this would be. And this is the sort of signings we should be looking at to bring in through the door, and not Kyle Walker-Peters, who is going in the opposite direction, I feel, from Cambiaso. So for me, if we can do a deal with Juventus for Cambiaso, it's a no-brainer of a signing.
I did look into Cambiaso, but they said he's just recently signed a deal till 2029, so it will take a lot of money to get him out of contract. But again, one to watch. You never know. But you actually opened the door nicely there for me, Chang, without even knowing it, because Emerson Royal has apparently come out and said he wants the Galatasaray move. AC Milan have held talks with his agent, whilst Galatasaray have just shown an interest. He wants to go, apparently, Royal, and would prefer to go to Galatasaray, but they are looking to make an initial bid of just 10 million euros, which is unlikely to be accepted. Jimbo, do you see Royal going this window? What sort of price do you think we should be selling him at?
I think he'll go. The price, I'm not sure. I wouldn't like to guess on the price, but I suppose Levy's going to try and milk every penny he can for him. But I think he'll go, Kate. Definitely. I don't think he'll stay. But if he wants to go to Galatasaray, then they should let him go. What? I didn't hear the money you said. Sorry. What?
10 million euros.
Yeah. Well, I think that's fair. I'd like to between 10 and 15. I'm sure Levy will get it up a couple of mil. You know what he's like. But he's not worth a lot more than that, is he? Let's be honest.
Well, I think that's quite low. I mean, Chang, what do you think? Do you agree with Jim, or do you think I think that's low to offer? But
honestly, assuming we can find cover for Royal, I would take anything upwards of 10 to 15 million pounds for him, given how I wouldn't say inconsistent, more like unreliable he is. I mean, don't get me wrong, he does try his best if the last few seasons can be considered his best. And if he does move away from N17, I wish him well, whether that's in Galatasaray or over to AC Milan in Italy or anywhere else in Europe. He has my blessing, because I honestly didn't expect him to really make the grade, despite him costing us so much from Barcelona. And for him to go to Galatasaray, I think is also a no-brainer for him, because Galatasaray currently have up to 4 Spurs players on their books. Those players being Serge Aurier, Endonbele, I believe, Vinicius, Carlos Vinicius, the loanee. He was a loan for us, and he's now at Galatasaray. And last but not least, Davinson Sanchez as well, to make up the 4 of them. So to have him there, I think it's going to be like a reunion of sorts for them, having 5 ex-Spurs players probably in their starting 11. It's going to look like a Spurs B team over there if they manage to get Emerson Royal over. So, I mean, again, this all comes down to Levy and Royal. Royal, I'm pretty sure he would jump at opportunity to go to Galatasaray. And I think the only stumbling block for us is Daniel Levy, and whether or not he's willing to accept whatever low ball offers Galatasaray are going to offer for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, 10 million to me says a player that is absolutely crap, useless. I don't think he's quite that. So I think that is a bit low, but at the same time, I hope we get rid of him, because we need to free up some spaces and wages and all that sort of thing. I don't think we'll get Galatasaray. 20 mil minimum. But I mean, I don't know, but I don't think he's useless. And as someone said, I think it was El Dante said, how are we going to replace him with just 10 million? Not going to get nothing for 10 million, are you?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about saying how do you replace him for 10 mil? It doesn't make him worth any more. You see what I'm saying? So he's worth what people are paid for him. And I don't think I will be surprised if we get more than 15. But I think he's worth between 10 and 15. But I don't hate him. I think he tries hard. Sometimes he does a good job when he comes on. Other times not so good. But he's not a player that I hate. But I don't think he's worth more than 15. I don't. That's my opinion. But it's all right saying how do you replace him for that. It's not a case of how you replace him. It's what he's worth, what the market will pay for him. And I'll be surprised if you get more than 15 for him.
I believe he's 25, Emerson Royal. But on a separate note, massive congratulations to him because he got married at the weekend. And wow, his wife looked absolutely magnificent. He didn't scrub up bad himself as well. But yeah, big congratulations to Emma Goat. David Clark saying if there are players Ange genuinely wants, I would totally lose my trust in Ange. It's that simple. That's if we get Hudson Odoi and someone else that he was saying. I'm not sure who he said. The only player we need to sign is Emity Cabernet. I love it. I love how pretty much everyone that's come in today has spoken about this. It's so funny. Big up, Paddy. Good to see you. I saw you having a little tete-a-tete with expressions on Twitter. You little rascal. Big up to you, David.
I back Paddy there. I think Paddy was right.
I 100%. Sorry, if I may say something very quickly, I 100% agree with everything Paddy Hartnett said about Timo Werner and backing Timo Werner and sort of like trying to take expressions down a peg or two, because honestly, I mean, when you're an influencer or if you have a certain sort of following, whether it's with a sporting franchise, political, a political movement or anything that will have an adverse effect on thousands and thousands and thousands of people and their livelihoods, I feel it is somewhat irresponsible maybe to sort of like speak out against a player or even a signing if you are not content with it, because at the end of the day, he still is a Spurs player and we should get behind any player who plays for the club, regardless if they are deemed to be worthless or just just a loanee who's here just to make up the numbers. For me, what expressions did is nothing short of what the fans at the Tottenham Hotspur did when they continuously harassed and booed Davinson Sanchez when he came on in his final ever game under Conte. I think it was the Newcastle defeat or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but that's somewhere along the lines of that. Trying to incite hatred towards a certain signing or player just because you don't fancy him. For me, I completely support and agree with whatever Paddy Hartnett had to say about that, and I really do hope that we as logical thinking fans, we don't try to be too harsh on certain players. I mean, we are all human end of the day, and we all make mistakes, and I can only hope that Timo Werner and Big Ange learn from their own mistakes as well, whether it's in performing for your club or in green lighting any signings. For me, we will just take this as it is at face value, that he's just merely a loan signing, nothing permanent yet. And I think I did mention this last Monday. If this is that proverbial band-aid that we have to rip off before we get the real signings in, then so be it. Let's see what else Big Ange has lined up for us before we start to make any assumptions as to how our season's going to turn up because of one loan signing.
Yeah, I think it's like everything. I think if you're disagreeing with a signing, and you're perfectly within your right to sort of express that you're disappointed, I just think sometimes it goes a little bit over the top. And as we all know, Expressions has got a huge platform. He's got so many followers, but I think, like we said before, it's easy for us to forget these players are human. We saw it with Dele Alli and his breakdown. What happened with Davinson Sanchez was terrible. Richarlison has struggled, so we do have to be careful and try to get a happy medium somewhere in between. But, I just hope Timo proves everybody wrong and has an absolutely blinding season so that so many people can eat their words. That's what I really hope and pray. But we shall see. El Dante says so many people have been so knee-jerk about Werner. The transfer window hasn't even opened yet, but people have lost their minds. Yeah, I get that. Edwards is a very average footballer, played 71, scored 14, assisted 11, 9 yellows, 1 red, just because he scored against us, by the way. He's not a number 10, he's a winger, and that's where he's played. Yeah, I'm not keen on getting Edwards back, to be fair. Yes, it is the 14th that the transfer window opens, I believe. Definitely OTT, but that's what gets some views and clicks. Wilton's in the house. Big up Wilton. Says, can't believe Endonbele is still being discussed as a possible returnee to the club. Tuchel is not bad, but he does not have a chance of the first team. 20 mil if we're lucky. Eze, yes. I have not seen anything about Endonbele coming back to the club, Jimbo. Have you? And what's your thoughts if he does?
No, I read that he's going to be shipped out straight away. Bless you.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, I read that he was going to be shit. He wouldn't even come back to the club, that they would ship him out straight away. I just think that no one seems to want to buy him. I did read one article that said that we wouldn't even get 5 million for him. So, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with him. They're going to either rip up his contract or pay him off. I don't know what they're going to do, but they need to do something to be unassociated with him anymore. Because he's brought nothing but crap to our club, you know.
Yeah. Thoughts on Endonbele, Chang?
Where do I even begin? I mean,
your face said it all.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, honestly, this is a bit of a 180-degree turn from what I said earlier about Timo Werner, of how we should support our players. If we should be supporting players like Timo Werner, despite him having a rather patchy few months with us since he joined back in January, I honestly cannot think of a more dislikable or rather unlikable player that's ever played for us in the form of Endonbele. Even that Egyptian, oh my goodness, that Egyptian Hossam Ghali. If anyone remembers Hossam Ghali and what he did when he threw his shirt, when he was substituted by Martin Yol for Robbie Keane, because he came on as a substitute, but he was then substituted for Robbie Keane despite him coming on as a substitute. What he did back then, throwing his shit to the ground and having his strop and everyone just booing him. He did that because he felt it was unjust for him to be substituted as a substitute. But what Endonbele did in that, I think it was a League Cup game where we were trailing, and for him to just sort of like very casually, very nonchalantly walk off the pitch. Everyone's looking at him. The fans were calling for him to rush off, and he was just taking his own sweet time. That for me is way, way worse. And when I saw his physique last year, I think either November or December, my goodness, that belly. I thought it was something like Ronaldo. I mean, when I talk about Ronaldo, I'm not talking about Cristiano. I'm talking about the Brazilian Ronaldo. You see his physique now, that's what he looks like. For you know, it's so unprofessional, and it's just so bonkers that someone of his talent, someone of his ability would just let it all go to waste on 200 grand a week. And I would gladly just cut ties with him, even if it means paying off his contract, even if it means just paying whatever release clause we have to get rid of him. Just be rid of him. I do not want him to be associated with us before preseason is even officially underway. And if he goes on a free, so be it. Let him stay and rot in Turkey for all I care.
Yeah, I agree. I think the saddest thing is he is such a talented player, and he's just not got anything about him to want to play football. Angus, agreed. He was ridiculous at Lyon, comes to us and turns out absolute crap. But I don't think you can blame Spurs. I think he's got the most stinking attitude. It's so frustrating.
You know what mistake Spurs made, didn't you? They should have said to him, every game you play really well, we're taking him at McDonald's and you can have whatever you want.
Oh dear, I don't know what we should have done with him, but all I know is we seem to be bloody stuck with him. But is it only a year he's got left now? So it won't be long before he's out the door. Big up to everyone coming in. It is shameful because they have such short careers. He'll look back one day and be devastated at what he's thrown away. In my opinion, Richard makes a good point. R.I.P. to Rob Burrow. Deepest condolences. Sympathy goes to his family, friends, rugby league family. Wonderful person. Yeah, very sad news today.
Is he a rugby player, Kate?
Yeah, even Prince William and Princess Kate released a statement about it today. It's very sad news. It's always sad when someone passes away, but that was a good shout, Richard. So thank you for that. I also agree with this. There's so many players out there, so many rival fans out there who always look to slag off our players. It just is. I don't like it when our own fans do it because we should be trying to sort of stick up for our players. Yeah, Brian, we did touch on Eze. No real news except that he has said that he wants to go. He's got a gentleman's agreement with Palace that says he can go, valued at around 70 million euros, and apparently he's got close family ties with the club, so it's hopefully looking promising. But we'll see. I'm going to come to you first, Jimbo, on this one. I'm a real gooner asking if you'd sell Sonny.
No, I wouldn't. Not yet. No.
Okay.
No, I think that he's a different. He needs to be on the wing. I thought when he was on the wing at the end of the season, it was better for us. I just don't know. I wouldn't sell him, Kate. I think he's a big part of the club, and he's our captain. I know a lot of people don't want him as captain, but no, I wouldn't sell him yet. Ask me next season; it might be different.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's coming up a lot more. I see a lot of different streams and a lot of different opinions. Like Rinketic, for instance, big up $1 million.
Would we get it though?
Yeah, you would get it because Saudi have made him their priority target, so Saudi would pay it.
Well, that's maybe a bit different.
How do you feel about it, Chang?
I wouldn't sell him for any figure, any fee, because honestly, what we will make back in terms of the marketing, the merchandising, even the image rights and everything that comes with him would more than pay for whatever fee is being offered to us. I recently saw this interview by Carl Walker. I can't remember who he was doing it with, but there was an interview with Carl Walker when he was reminiscing about that one time he went to Korea with Son and Ben Davis and Kevin Wimmer, and how he was so starstruck, how he was so awestruck by Son's following, and how he likened him to being the fourth Beatle or the fifth Beatle, however you call it. The following for Carl Walker. Carl Walker. Okay. If I find the interview, I will send it to you because he then made this comparison between Beckham and I believe it was either Steve McManaman or some other English player who was over at Real Madrid or over abroad away from England, and he said that the fandom for Son is unlike anything that he's ever witnessed, more so than Rooney or Kane or Beckham or anyone that came before him. So for me, the selling price, or rather the fee, is not an issue really. I would love to see him just retire, just to spend his last few years at Spurs and just retire, much like what Toni Kroos did for Real Madrid, and just call it quits at the top of his game. Whether it's 33, 34, 35 years of age, I would absolutely love it if Son Heung-min ends his career at Tottenham Hotspur, although it's very difficult, honestly, to try to talk any sense to Daniel Levy and ENIC once the Arabs come with however many millions they want to try and offer us for him. So again, at the end of the day, It's down to Son himself, whether he's willing to leave, which by all accounts, my heart tells me that he's more than satisfied with staying at N17. And if Daniel Levy has any sense, he would not entertain any offers for Son Heung-min, because as I just mentioned, the merchandising and also the marketing, it all pays for itself. We don't have to sell him. We just need to keep him here. We could even use him as a sort of fatherly figure, seeing how he's one of the longest serving players at the club, almost like a role model for the younger players that are coming up. Whether it's a Mikey Moore, Alfie Devine, I would love to see him not only end his career, maybe even take up a coaching role. Who knows? He might have something to teach and be something like what Jermaine Defoe and Danny Rose were for us when they gave up their playing days.
Yeah, I don't personally think he's going anywhere. But yeah, Angus is right. Saudi want Kevin De Bruyne. I don't see him going anywhere either. Big up Phil Coy. He's been a member for a month. Says 3 statement signings this summer. Anything else? Which I completely agree with. I think we need to really push the boat out. Bergvall update. Apparently, he's recently purchased a new house in North London where he will be living with his parents. This was after Ange has confirmed he will not be put out on loan and is part of Ange's plans for next season. So, Jim, I know you've been watching loads about this kid and you really rate him. So, you looking forward to seeing him next season play for us?
I cannot wait to see this man in a Spurs shirt. I've watched hours on him, and I've watched interviews with him, and I've watched interviews with people talking about him. And one article I read was in his contract, he has been promised that he will be a starter for Spurs, which is phenomenal. I just think he's going to take the Premiership by storm. I really do. If he doesn't, I'll be surprised. He's going to be a massive. The hardest thing is going to be for Tottenham. I'm not sure. I think we got him on a 4-year contract, 4 or 5-year contract. But the hardest thing is going to be keeping him, I reckon. After he's had a season or two with us, that'd be the hardest thing, is keeping him. Because I tell you something, Kate, he looks like to me like a Real Madrid player that's in the making.
Wow. Well, let's not talk about.
I have something to say about Bergvall, if I may. I just want to clarify something that Mr. James mentioned. So officially, Lucas Bergvall joins Spurs from the 1st of July 2024 on a 5-year contract.
5-year, yeah.
It's a 5-year contract for Lucas Bergvall when he officially joins us on the 1st of July 2024. Back to you, Ms. Kate.
I was just going to say, Chang, regarding what Paul says here, that he hasn't played against the quality of Premier League. I mean, are you looking forward to seeing this guy in the first team?
Absolutely. I mean, I would liken him to Mikey Moore. I feel that both him and Mikey Moore have more than enough about themselves to be on the bench. Whether or not they see any game time at all when they try to compete with the seniors is a completely different thing. But for me, Lucas Bergvall, if he is ready, it's now or never. I mean, there's only so many players that you can send out on loan, whether it's your Troy Parrots or Alfie Devines or your Dane Scarlets. I mean, if the likes of Mikey Moore and Alfie Dorrington or even this Lucas Bergvall, if they are ready to make the grade, then so be it. It's still down to Big Ange himself, though, whether or not he fancies Lucas Bergvall. But everything that I've seen about Bergvall, even before he was linked to us, everything that I've seen about him tells me that this kid is ready. And if he does play for us in pre-season, then I am convinced that Big Ange will include him in our plans for next summer.
Look, you watch, Kate, you watch some players, right? And you think, yeah, they're good, but will they make it in the Premier League? This guy will make it anywhere. He's a real good player now, but he is going to be a top player. And Angus is 18. He's just turned 18. He signed for Tottenham on his birthday, on his 18th birthday.
If I may just add something very quickly, this Bergvall, he actually reminds me a lot of a very, very young Raheem Sterling. Even before Raheem Sterling moved over from Liverpool to Manchester City. If you remember Raheem Sterling in his late teens, whether it was 17, 18 or 19, before he moved over to Manchester City from Liverpool, Lucas Bergvall absolutely, he's on par with Raheem Sterling when Raheem Sterling was with Liverpool. And I think it would be such a shame, really, if he's not part of preseason for us when we, get the friendlies underway. And if he is part of the preseason, then everything points towards him as being a squad player for next season.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a real hype around this guy, and I think he looks really good. I hope they integrate him slowly, but I cannot wait to see him play. I mean, even Raymond saying, as an Arsenal fan, he looks like a baller. He does look a very exciting player. Chris Andre says, Jim, I wouldn't worry about whether we can keep him. We're not that type of club anymore that needs to worry about keeping older players we want to keep or that want to stay with us.
I watched his last game for his club, Kate.
Yeah.
And he's just a good all-round player. He gets fouled quite a bit. It's only because you can see they get frustrated with him because he's got every trick in the book. But he's just, I'm so excited to see him. I've not been this excited about a player for a long, long time.
Yeah. He plays as a midfielder, I believe, but I think he's quite flexible in where the position he can play.
He's played on the wing as well. I've seen him on the wing. But he scores goals. He's got his passing range is fantastic. He's just if he loses the ball, I haven't seen him once lose a ball and not fight to get it back. He is a real tricky player. He's just it's exciting. Really is exciting.
Well, someone's saying Richard's saying he gives him Eriksen vibes, and Paul G's saying he gives him Grealish vibes. So it all sounds very promising. So yeah, it's something to look forward to. And another new signing that we're going to get to see. Fabrizio Romano has released a statement on Ivan Toney and Spurs, and he said, although it is expected that Tottenham will sign a striker this summer, there is no concrete update on Ivan Toney despite reports. He might be one of the strikers being considered at Spurs, but no final decision on their top target has been made yet. Tottenham's priority was to decide what to do with Timo Werner, and now they will move on to their next targets. I personally don't think Toney fits the actual human profile that Ange looks for. Chang, do you see any movement in Toney coming to Spurs? And if not, where do you see him going? Because it looks apparent he's not going to go back to Brentford. So,
I mean, honestly, as a striker, for his goals and assists and his contributions to Brentford in the Premier League, he fits our profile. It's only his attitude, really, and his past gambling addictions that has me worried. I mean, even after everything that Brentford have done for him to openly instigate a move away from Brentford, after everything that Brentford have done for him and supported him, just doesn't sit well with me. For me, I can just see this as yet another Jet Spence in the making, or even another Endonbele, if I were to put it very bluntly. But I mean, if Big Ange can keep him, in line, keep him on his toes, keep him disciplined, then for me, it's a no-brainer of a signing, provided he wants to come to N17. If not, if I could settle for, say, a Dominic Solanke, I think I would take Dominic Solanke over him, just because Dominic Solanke doesn't have his sort of past gambling troubles and his attitude problem with him. Or at the end of the day, I mean, again, this all comes down to Big Ange and who he fancies, because we've already seen him fancy someone like Timo Werner, who's to say that he won't go for someone like Ivan Toney if he can whip him into shape and keep him in line. So if he can, put a lid on his own tantrums, and not go back to his old habits of gambling, then I'm all for him as a striker, provided that is he does keep his attitude and his gambling activities in check.
Yeah. Jimbo, what's your thought? I mean, apparently his price is dropping by the minute, really, Tony. It seems like
that tells you something.
Yeah, nobody really wants him, and yet we can all see that he's a fantastic goal scorer. But I do worry that his personality is a bit dubious. I mean, what do you think, Jimbo?
Well, if you're going to give me Tony or MJ Cabinet, I'll take Tony because he scores goals. So if I get the choice, I'm going to pick Tony all day long. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be really. Ange always chats with the players before they come, so I think that's going to have a lot to do with it. But he could definitely do a job for us. But I don't really blame him for wanting to move on from Brentford because he's getting on now. He's got a few years. What is he? 28. He's 28 or 29, I think.
Yeah.
So he's going to want one last move. So to a bigger club, but I don't know, Kate, if he's going to fit in or not. He scores goals. So
yeah,
Ivan Toney is 28 years of age. Ivan Toney is 28.
Yeah, so it's down to Ange really. If he has a chat with him and let Ange make his own mind up. But if he comes, I won't be disappointed. Oh, not at all.
No, I just don't see his character profile fitting Ange's requirements. He's very strict, isn't he, Ange, about the person? I just don't see that. Angus said it.
Can I just say, Kate, we read things and see things on social media and in the papers and that, but things do get twisted.
Yeah.
So it might not be as bad as we've read and seen. And he's had his gambling addictions, but I've had addictions. Well, there's a lot of people who have addictions. Doesn't make them a bad person. It means they've made mistakes. So if he's made a mistake and he's learnt by his mistake, I've learnt by mine. So, and a lot of people have. So that I'm not going to condemn him for that. But I mean, it's going to be down to Ange. If Ange says he wants him and we buy him, I'll get behind him. That's for sure.
I mean, Angus said he thinks he'll end up at West Ham. I have seen a few people and a few connections with him and West Ham. So it could be if Ollie Watkins leaves, which I don't see him doing, but Villa possibly going in for him. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I just don't think he will come to Spurs. I don't think Ange will want him. But someone just mentioned this guy, and I was just going to talk about Santiago Jimenez. According to reports in Mexico, the Feyenoord striker Jimenez has said yes to a move to Tottenham. It is understood the 23-year-old wants to live in London, and therefore Spurs is his preferred destination over Liverpool. He played 30 times last season with 23 goals and 6 assists. Now, this gets me a little bit excited, this guy. And I don't get excited that easily, Jim will tell you. But I am a little bit excited for this guy possibly coming to Tottenham. Chang, what's your thoughts on Santiago Jimenez?
I'm all for it. I mean, you just mentioned his statistics, and I did watch a bit of him when we were linked with him in January, although we didn't make any sort of concrete offers, but he was one to watch way back during the winter transfer window. And however many months later now, some 6 months, I think it's been since January, now it's already June. So if this is the kind of player that Big Ange wants, and if it is true, if there is any truth in the rumor that he fancies playing and living in London, I'm all for him joining the Ange ball revolution. Although I do feel that there may be competition for him from the likes of Chelsea or even Woolwich, if they feel that they can price him away from us. Although I would urge us to be cautious, because we must remember he's coming from a Dutch league, Feyenoord, if memory serves me right. So the last player from the Dutch league in the form of Vincent Janssen, that didn't really turn out too well for us. So who's to say this Mexican won't go down a similar route to Vincent Janssen? I think it remains to be seen. But for all intents and purposes, I mean, if he fits the profile, Big Ange wants him. I mean, how much more worse can he be to Timo Werner or even Richarlison for that matter? I am all for giving him a chance. I mean, I don't say this with a hint of sarcasm, or trying to belittle either Richarlison or Werner, but I mean, we've seen Richarlison for 2 seasons now, and we've already seen that Timo Werner can't keep himself fit for half a season on loan too at that. So, I mean, if Jimenez can stay fit, and if he can even bring over his form, if he can carry on his form from the Dutch Eredivisie League to the Premier League, why not take a punt on him? So yeah, this is a signing that I would go. I wouldn't say I would go off my way to get him, but if the price is right, get him, Daniel Levy. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Jim, you got any thoughts on Santiago Jimenez?
Yeah, I don't really know loads about him, Kate. It's the same with some of the other players. I said only what I've read and heard people say, so I don't really want to. But I just saw someone put in the comments that he's only scored 5 goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not 100% sure. I've read some articles saying that he'd be a really good addition to the club, and I've read other articles saying that we could do better. So I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It's always easy to say we could do better, but we need to have names.
He's not been in the Premier League before, I take it.
No, he hasn't. So, good morning or good afternoon, should I say, to Rakdos. Good to see you, sir. Angus, Arsenal have said they're going to release 19 players, including Mohamed El Nene. That broke this morning. They're having a good old clear out. Looks like you're interested in Sesko, is it? That young striker. I think we touched on it on Friday. I think that there's rumours that that's close. I know Arsenal are one of the teams in prime position to sign Bruno I can't say his surname. Guimaraes or what? No,
Guimaraes. It's supposed to be Guimaraes. Yes. Guimaraes.
And also there's links with Zubamendi, which I'll be devastated because he'd be my number one signing if I could get him. But nothing concrete. Again, same people you're being linked with. So unless I see anything different, that's all I've got at the minute. Apparently Højbjerg is wanted at Fenerbahce to join up with Mourinho. Interesting. I think it's safe to say he'll be gone this window, but it kind of makes sense. Mourinho rates him highly, doesn't he? Always did. So that kind of makes sense for him to go there.
Well, he fits in with his football, the way he plays football, Kate.
Yeah, of course he does. Wow. Poor Chang's just had his eardrums burst because of the dogs. Osimhen, I think, is overpriced. What is it, 130 million release clause? I think he's massively overpriced, overrated. Chang, do you agree? Or are you one of these people that buys into this Osimhen being this sort of super megastar?
This is the funny thing. I was just only saying this about Jimenez earlier, coming from the Dutch league, and Osimhen, Victor Osimhen, coming from Serie A, coming from Napoli, is another one of those players with big question marks hanging around him, and whether or not he will be able to find his form in Britain as he does or as he did over in Italy. For me, if we can do a deal for Osimhen, I wouldn't be completely against it, because from what I've seen of him, I really like him as a striker. I've seen his highlights and I've seen the goals that he scores, and some of them are absolute worldies. But whether or not he can find that same form in Britain, let alone in the Premier League at N70, is a completely different thing altogether. I mean, the jury's still on Osimhen and whether or not he's a big fit over in Britain, because if he really was that good, I mean, sometimes the old cliches are the best cliches, that if a player really is that good, why hasn't any other big club gone for him yet? I mean, if he really is that, that prolific in front of goal, and he really is the next big thing coming up from Serie A, why haven't, the likes of Man City, Liverpool, United, Woolwich, or even Chelsea gone for him yet? So again, this is down to Big Ange and Daniel Levy to see if they are willing to do a deal for him. Personally, I would welcome him with open arms to N17. But if the asking price is a bit too much for a player who's unproven in Britain and in the Premier League, then I would say maybe go for someone like Jimenez first before we even consider Osimhen. At the end of the day, again, this all boils down to Big Ange and Daniel Levy to see if they can do a deal for Osimhen.
Yeah, I just think his price is ridiculous. I do think this Sesko's got the potential to be decent, but I'm not sure if I thought Arsenal would want to go for a proven striker rather than the potential. There was one other player who I highlighted, which was Ricardo Calafion, if that's how you say it. He's only £20 million. He is a defender who is currently, I'm not sure where he's currently at actually. He is, let me just get it out.
I think this is Bologna. And I think his last name is Calafiori. Yes, correct. It's Calafiori. Ricardo Calafiori. He's an Italian as well.
That's exactly right. What a lovely name. What a lovely name that is. I've made it Calafion, and look, Calafiori. Much better. But anyway, apparently Tottenham are interested, Chelsea are interested. However, it looks like he might be going to Juventus to join up with his former boss Thiago Motta. But he's one to watch for the future, I think, because he's quite highly rated, I believe. I have got some questions from Kate. Do you remember Anelka? He was 19 and a risk. I do remember Anelka. Good player. I also remember
his attitude stinks as well.
Exactly
Anelka,
that.
his attitude.
Exactly that. I also don't know if anyone remembers a player, Jeremy Aliadier, who Arsenal brought in, and Wenger said that he was going to be better than Wayne Rooney. And then he just kind of disappeared into oblivion. I'm not sure whatever really happened to him. But this guy, I'm not going to attempt to say his name because I can't say this name either. It looks every inch an Ange player, like the look of Manu Kone, real beast of a number 6+ Eze. Yeah, that guy, Gikaresh, or whatever his name is, I think.
Let's call him Victor. Let's just call him Victor.
Yeah. Victor, I think that is who Arsenal should be going for, in my opinion. I think that's the missing piece that they're desperate for.
I honestly feel that Victor has the potential to be Alexander Isak Mark II or 2.0. Wow. He's going to be Alexander Isak 2.0 if he does come to the Premier League. That's how confident I am that Gyökeres or something like that, Victor Gyökeres, that's how confident I feel this kid is going to be. Although he's not really a kid, I think he's something like 24, 25 years of age, and he currently plies his trade with Sporting over in Portugal. So I think he should have the maturity and also the know-how to find the back of the net in whichever league he finds himself in. And yeah, again, this is another player that I would take over Osimhen, much like Jimenez. For me, Victor is the kind of player that I would splash the cash for if he's willing to come to N17.
Yeah, Jimbo, this is an interesting question. Would you take Darwin Nunez from Liverpool?
Would I? Yeah, 100%. I really like him. You know that. You know I really like him. And yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't see us going in for him. It was just a theoretical question. Do you feel the same, Chang?
This is a hard one to have to answer. Honestly, if we can do a deal with him, with Liverpool, I would fancy him at Spurs, although I honestly can't see Liverpool wanting to sell to one of their top four rivals if they feel that Darwin Nunez is going to strengthen us and weaken them at the same time. It feels almost like a six-pointer for them to uh, sell. I think it's only, 21, 22 years of age, Nunez, to one of their top four rivals. So, 24, I think, 23, 24 years of age to one of the top four rivals. So I don't think they'll want to strengthen us if it's going to weaken them at the same time. But, stranger things have happened. We've seen Robbie Van Persie move from Arsenal to United. So anything can happen in this league. So, yeah, I think I totally agree with Mr. James over here. If we can do a deal with Liverpool for him, I'd take him. He would definitely be a massive upgrade over Timo Werner. That's for sure.
I love Darwin Nunez. I really do. I think he's a confidence player, and I think he gets a lot of unwarranted stick at Liverpool. But I really like him. I think he's brilliant. But I don't think he'd, like you said, I don't think Liverpool would sell him to us. I haven't heard any.
And have Liverpool said that he's for sale then?
They want to get rid of him, and upgrade on him.
Oh, okay. I never knew that.
Yeah, apparently so.
Okay, I think that the Spurs have got their targets already.
I know.
Targeted in and sorted, and it's just all being kept quiet. I mean, I think Spurs learnt a lot when who was the player that we was going to buy, and we got gazumped. William was one, and then Liverpool done it with us too. With what's his name? I can't think of his name.
Diaz.
Yeah. So I think that we've got our targets. They're all sorted, and they're just keeping it quiet.
As far as I can see, Leeds have said they're not going to buy Joe Rodon. But I don't know if that's true. Because I think they were relying on promotion. But we'll see. Hopefully they will buy him, but we shall see. Leo says he will be scouting Jimenez on Wednesday night, Mexico versus Uruguay. I hope Bentancur plays as well. Interesting. Ali Adier blast from the past. Yeah. Like I say, he just kind of disappeared. They're playing here in Denver. Excellent. He went to Middlesbrough. Okay. Pronounced Jokeres. Jokeres. I think he's going to be a baller. Look, Rinketic said he's even more powerful than Isak. Victor Jokeres. Big up GBC fan. Hope you're well. Watkins would be perfect for Arsenal. Yep. I agree. Nkunku says Jokeres has a sense of English football. Can't see us paying 100 million for a striker. No, I don't see. Did anyone see that Aubameyang interview he did? I don't really watch Aubameyang. I'm not going to lie, but oh dear, GBC doesn't agree with us. He says Nunez is a bit wank. You say it how it is. You know, don't sugarcoat it. You just tell us what you think. Who said that? Where's it gone? Can you imagine Nunez and Johnson missing constantly? Leo would take him. Guna would take him. Patrick Bamford, no thank you. Nunez is almost 25. Don't think Liverpool see Spurs that way. The player would be the difficulty. Why would he want to move? Well, I think Liverpool want to move him on. He misses too much. I don't want him here. So we all agree Nunez would fit. Watch this space. He's dangerous. I saw Liverpool want Watkins as a replacement for him. That was what they said on the terrace. I don't see Watkins leaving. He's only just extended his contract at Aston Villa. So, and why would he want to leave Villa? They've just got into the Champions League. But you know, you never know what's going to happen. El Dante said they'd like us to get Nunez. He's young, worked hard, and yes, he misses chances, but think in part he's unlucky as he's hit the woodwork many times. Yes, apparently we're linked with Joe Bellingham. I've heard mixed reports. I've heard some people really say that they think he's good. I've heard others say that he's not very good. Do you know anything about him, Chang? Any thoughts on us signing him?
I can't say that I know much about Joe Bellingham apart from his older brother Jude, who's really smashing it in Real Madrid. Again, Joe Bellingham, he's a forward, so if his level, or rather his his pedigree is championship level, then maybe he's going to end up something like a Jet Spence, Ryan Sessegnon, or even Harry Winks or an Oliver Skip. For me, I mean, unless this sort of players are proven in the Premiership, I think it will be rather strange to want to take a punt on players who aren't proven in the Premiership. Because if Big Ange really is serious about challenging, and I don't mean for the Premiership, I mean just challenging for top 4 next season, we shouldn't be, gambling on players like Joe Bellingham. Be going for the finished article, the kind of players who can walk into not just Spurs but any other Premier League club into their starting 11. So for me, honestly, Joe Bellingham doesn't fit the profile, sad to say.
Yeah, I agree. I think as well, Sunderland are talking about wanting in excess of £20 million. And someone tweeted, I speak for everyone who watches the Championship week in, week out and can say that he is absolutely nothing special. So I would much rather be linked with his brother Jude, that's for sure. New home kit out tomorrow. It's a beauty, but the away kit must be one of the worst Spurs shirts ever. Have you seen it, Jimbo? The 3 kits, the white, the blue, and the green.
I see the white and the blue one, and I thought that was really nice. But it's quite similar to a shirt I've got already. I had it on yesterday, I think.
What, the blue one, the white one?
Yeah, the white and blue.
But it's got blue around the sleeves, which I like. I have to agree and say yes. I can see what you're saying with Chang. There is a similarity. I think the blue one is absolutely disgusting.
Well, let me tell you something. If it's got a cockerel on it, I'll wear it. As simple as that.
And the green one, I don't mind so much, but I do like the home. I mean, Chang, have you seen them? What's your views on them? Because you love a shirt.
I've only seen the home kit, the one that Emerson, sorry, it was Richarlison. I think Richarlison was seen wearing it during his recent birthday. So I'm totally all for the home kit. But the other 2 kits, the blue and the green, sadly, I've not seen them yet. I might take a look at it once I get off from work when our show is done. So, there it is. Wow. Okay. It looks kind of similar to a retro 80s away color.
Yes.
This color actually kind of reminds me of a retro, a very old retro 80s color. I don't think I've seen this shade for an away kit for a long time. Oh, this looks strange. Wow. Is this the 3rd kit?
This is the green, the 3rd kit. I like this one because it's a bit funky, and I do like a funky kit.
This one kind of reminds me of that other green kit we wore, that fateful night at Amsterdam. So the green kit looks catchy, but the blue one still has me undecided. Yep, this is the one that I saw Richarlison wear for his very recent birthday bash that he posted on social media. So I'm all for this home kit. The other 2 I'm still undecided, but the green one looks fairly decent. Only the blue one now remains to be seen up close and personal when you really see it in your own 2 hands.
Yeah, I agree. I love the green because it's a little bit unusual, but the blue, it definitely gives me the 80s vibe. It reminds me of an old PE shirt or something. So, but once you see it in the flesh, it can be different. What's your thoughts on Ologun, the striker in the England national team under 21? Never heard of him. I don't know who this is. Anyone know who this guy is?
No. Let's have a look.
Never heard of him, sadly, no.
This isn't
Olagun.
someone trying to get me at it, is it? Olagun. I can't even find someone with a
Just quickly
similar
look him
name.
up.
No, I'm not finding.
Doesn't ring a bell.
No,
Neither am I.
nor me. I'm not sure who you mean. Yeah, apparently Rodon did want to join Leeds, but I mean, I'm not finding any news to say that he's going to get there. Nunez can score, just not enough. Yeah, he's going to be another one. I think not that I think it will happen, but if we did get someone like a Nunez, it would divide the fan base without a shadow. I'd bite your hand off for Nunez. Mateta at Palace is a fantastic player. But again, if you're linking Eze and Elise is going out the door, are they going to let Mateta go as well? I mean, they're going to have no one left. I'm a real gooner, says Kate, Jim and Chang. Nketiah would be perfect. Please stop trying to throw us Nketiah in our team. He's crap.
Who just said about the Olagun? If they're trying to catch us out, this is a channel where if we don't know who we're talking about, we say we don't know. Yeah, we don't talk shit about players that we don't know about.
Barney said Johnson's going to be the most improved player this season. I hope so. That would be amazing. I'd go insane watching Brennan and Nunez. Werner missing chances the whole game. Yeah, it could be where we all pull our hair out. Joe Bellingham, good passer, lacks pace to be a midfield at top level, and yet Angus is saying it could be better than his brother.
I read some reports on him, Kate, because I never knew he had a brother till a couple of weeks ago, and I was reading about him, and the reports I read said that he could be up there. So I don't know how true it is, but I have actually now watched a video on him, and he looked decent. No, it didn't look nothing special, but I only watched one video.
Daniel Coy's big up to you, my love, says, I don't understand. We moan we need a striker to score consistently, and then we hype up Nunez. I'm puzzled. Look, it's the same way we hype up other, we could all hype up Santiago Jimenez and him come and be a disaster. I just think Nunez could do well in a different team, but I'm not saying that he is necessarily what we need, but I do like him as a footballer. I'm not. That's my view. What's your view on Kudos of West Ham? I would love him. I would take him in a heartbeat. I think he is wonderful. Jim, I think you're a fan as well of Kudos.
Massive fan. I absolutely love him. Do we know their new manager is yet? Is it out?
Who, West Ham?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got a feeling it is out, but I can't remember who it was.
That's going to be a big thing if he stays there or not. But he's too good for West Ham, in my opinion.
Yeah, isn't it Lopetegui?
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
But, what a player! He's a great player.
I think he is going somewhere, or Liverpool. I think it is that. Yeah, it is. Liverpool are interested in signing him to replace Salah. Apparently, but Chang, do you like Kudos?
Absolutely. For me, it's a no-brainer, and I believe even back in the day when he was still with Ajax, when Kudos was still with Ajax, we were heavily linked with him, and apparently, I think it was Daniel Levy who was not willing to meet Ajax's valuation for Mohamed Kudus back when he was still with Ajax and the every VDCA. So I think this is another player that we can look back on and say that we missed out on a real gem of a player, because for me, it's a no-brainer as well. Getting him from West Ham, if he can stay in London, and 23-year-old for a Ghanaian who can play on either wing and scores and assists loads of goals for West Ham. He is also another one of those players who falls into the category of massive upgrade over Timo Werner. Yep,
I agree. I would be over the moon if we could prize Kudos away from West Ham. This is spot on. It does look like Lecoq Sportif away kit of the 80s. Apparently our most successful kit supplier outside of Umbra. I did not know that. Oh, does he mean Balogun? I've heard of Balogun. Let me see. What is he up? Is he for sale?
Bellingham, yes. Bellingham, I believe he's an American player. I can't remember his first name. It's F something, but yeah, Bellingham, I've heard of this name.
Following.
Yep,
Balogun.
that's the one. So
Yeah.
Following Bellingham, I think he's still at Monaco. And we were also looking at him about 2 or 3 years back when he was only 18 or 19, but that never materialized. This was, I believe, during Mourinho's days, not even under Conte, even during Mourinho's days when he was only 18 or 19. We were heavily linked with him, but it never materialized. And he's now over at Monaco. He's still doing fairly well, I believe, with Monaco. And he's an American too as well. So yeah, he's a 22-year-old American who plays for Monaco. And he's doing fairly well for himself over at Monaco.
Yeah, I think he looks half decent. Big up Ellie, good to see you, lovely. She says that Spurs are going to be cooking next season. Let's hope so, darling. Let's hope so. Midfielder Yves Bissouma had his watch stolen after muggers sprayed tear gas in his face outside a hotel in France. He and his wife were forced to cut their holiday short. I don't think that's the first time he's been robbed either, if I'm right. But I hope he's okay. And we've got Big Time Barry here. Nick, how are you, my lovely?
Right, Nick.
Well, I had to rush home, obviously, because I had to try and get on. Big time.
Good afternoon, Mr. Collison Wright.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chang. How are we doing?
Very well. Happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, always good.
Right, Nick.
I'm all right, Jim. Well, I'm not all right. I've just spent 340 quid in Costco, and the car's broke down on Saturday, and my laptop's not working too. The keys aren't working, so yeah, I've had a bit.
They say it happens in threes.
Well, it wasn't through choice. There was obviously there was one of the Dyson fans that are normally like 350 quid. It was for 200. It was on offer at 200 quid, so I didn't have to buy it, but obviously I had to buy it. Let's just say.
Oh, I really want one of them.
Did your expenditure at Costco outweigh the repairs to your car?
I don't know about the repairs to the car yet. I'm waiting for that yet. So yeah, probably not.
Sure.
Probably not. But yeah, no, they're on offer, Kate, at the moment. £200 instead of $350 for the Dyson hot and cold fan. So yeah.
Oh my god, I really want one. They're amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Did
apart from that, it's good.
You sound like my brother-in-law. He went shopping to get some drink for a party Saturday, and he come home with a Hoover. He couldn't resist. He said the price was too cheap, so he bought the Hoover. Come home with a Hoover.
They're still 400. They're 400 quid at John Lewis at the moment, and on the Dyson website, and I paid £200 for it.
I wouldn't mind, but he's got 2 Hoovers already.
Jim, I think you need to go and get one of them fans from Costco because they're the best fans ever. Nick, did you hear what I was saying about Emerson Royal apparently wanting to move to Galatasaray?
Well, it's been a weekend of disappointment. He obviously got married yesterday, and I got messages of condolences saying, "Are you okay with what happened with Emerson Royal?" And then I just sent him back the picture of him crying, and I was going, "He's crying because he knows the love that I have for him, and he's just gonna have to deal with it." What can I say? But yeah, he obviously got married. It looks like he's on his way out. What can I say? It's been a crap weekend with the car and the laptop and everything else. And Emerson Royal. So that's the three things. That's the three things. So I mean, obviously, like we said before, I'd be disappointed that he goes. I think there's more. There's other positions that we need to fix first. He's obviously his influence and his passion and everything else in the dressing room. I don't think there's it can't be matched by a few of them. But look, sometimes these things come to their natural end. Everyone else, a lot of people will be saying we don't need him, but we got a lot of games. So what does that actually mean? Does it mean that we've got someone lined up? Does it mean that Dragusin's going to potentially play on that right back position? Is Ange going to change the system to 3 at the back and put Porro and Udogie higher up? I think it gives us more questions than answers, really.
Yeah. Big up Martin for the super chat. Flying home today. It's been a long 3 weeks. Bless you. Sorry to hear about your mum and everything, but have a safe journey back to Spain. Nick, going back to Royal, they reckon that they're going to put a 10 million euro bid in. Realistically, obviously not in your I love Emerson Royal voice.
They're missing a zero, Kate, no? They're missing a zero.
What do you think he's worth?
No? Well, 100 million, obviously. Look, if Mbappe's signing for Real Madrid and getting an 85 million pound sign-on fee, then Emerson Royal must be worth at least double that. No, in all seriousness, I think, look, we paid 25 million. So I think if we can pretty much get there or thereabouts for it, then I think I don't think it's the type of signing we need to get. Like I said, we don't need to get rid of him for 10 million just to get rid of him. I mean, if someone came and offered 10 million for Endonbele, then we're taking it all day long, I think. But I don't think we're going to take a 10 to 15 million pound loss on a position that we don't have any kind of cover at the moment. Realistically, Jed Spence is not going to come back all of a sudden and be back up. He needs to go unless we're going to suddenly start talking about re-signing Kyle Walker-Peters. But then I think obviously Southampton came up, so I think that's probably done and dusted. So look, I think if we can pretty much wash our hands of what we've paid, then that'll be good business on both sides. So.
Yeah, I think 10 million is way too low. I think he's got to be worth 20. But someone's just put 8 million in. Angus is saying £5. One of the worst footballers ever. It's a bit harsh. I don't think he's that bad.
I don't know. I don't know. I've seen some Arsenal players, Angus, in my time that Ben White and his fake tan. Let's give him his flowers for turning up last season, but until last season he hasn't been that great, and I'm not too sure about his tan. So I don't know whether he's trying to get on Towie or he's too rough. He's too rough for made in Chelsea. So I guess he's trying to get on Towie to try and do something in the off season. But look, he's not in terms of defence. I think there's worse right backs in the Premier League. We obviously know what he's like going forward. But then he did score that goal against Brentford on the opening day of last season. So, he has scored at the Etihad. And when we've needed him, especially this season, he's turned up. And yes, Angus, I seriously want to come at Benny Blanco. Not a problem. So,
I reckon we're going to see
Angus, Ben White last season, he won the same as Emerson Royal, didn't he? So. There we go, Angus. There we go. So.
I actually think we're going to see Ben White on Love Island, which I believe starts tonight. And I think Ben White
start tonight, and hopefully next Sunday I'll be in the audience at the studio. So because the wife loves Love Island, and it is a bit of a guilty pleasure. But what can we say? At least I guess I'll leave Angus with this. At least Emerson Royal doesn't refuse to play for his country because he doesn't like being told that he's crap or whatever happened when he was at the World Cup. At least he turns up. So I'll leave Angus with that. So.
This is true. Nick, what's your thoughts on empty Cabernet?
I think we got a 50-50 chance, haven't we, signing him?
I just love how much this has gone viral. It is hilarious, absolutely hilarious.
Karma. You could say karma will always come round and get the people. So let's. It's just the funniest thing. Probably the funniest thing I've ever seen. What will also be funny is if it is true, and I'm sure we've spoken about it. Is if we do sign Eze, what are people going to say then? I'm sure the narrative will be that was down to us and protesting. It's taken 23 years. 23 years of it Why didn't we back Conte? Why didn't we back Jose? We've had a part in it. I mean, I'm sure it'll be spun, and no one will actually turn around and go, "Do you know what? Fair play. We've done it." We need to stop living in the past, guys. Whatever happened in the past, Pochettino, whatever, Jose, Conte, Nuno, Mason, Stellini, all of what's happened in the past is in the past. We can't change the past. We can only change the future. And look, I know that there's some fans that are absolutely cacking their pants and worried about Spurs next season, because if we pull off Eze after pulling off Maddison last season, and there's obviously also the rumour around Ivan Toney. If we got Eze and Toney, then I'm sorry, there needs to be there needs to be some people are going to step up and go, Christ, if Tottenham can do it, why aren't we doing it? So look, let's just wait and see. Let's be patient, wait and see. Look, Romano for me has said, here we go soon. Now Romano rarely gets things wrong, so it looks like everything else, right? So let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens with Eze. Let's wait and see what happens by the end of the window. But if it's like I said on We Are Tottenham TV the other day, if it's with Werner and Eze, we're taking that all day long. And no first Spurs fans will sit there and say, "Oh, I don't want both. I want more. I want Eze and I want something else." No, you're taking it. You're taking Werner if you're taking Eze as well. So, yeah,
I agree. Jim, do you think this? I hear a lot of fans saying that Ange's the most protected manager we've ever had. That he's not allowed to be criticised. Do you think he's protected?
They can criticise him as much as they like. When we win the league next season, then they'll see, won't they?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's protected. Why is he protected? He speaks out. There's only so much he can say, Kate. It's the same as any manager. They can only say so much, as you rightly said last week or the week before, that he works for somebody. So you can't come out slagging your boss off, otherwise you're going to lose your job. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So his hands are tied to a certain extent to what he can say, as is anybody that works for somebody. But we'll see next season when we're lifting that trophy, and we say to Arsenal, "Oh, you got there close twice, but we did it."
That'll kill him, Jim. That would absolutely kill him.
Oh, it would. Do you think Ange's protected, Chang? I mean, I know someone said to me, "Oh, this is why this fan base is divided. You can't possibly say a word against Ange," which I don't totally agree with at all. But I mean, how do you feel about it?
I wouldn't go so far as to say that he's our most protected. Maybe he's going to be the modern manager that's going to be given the most leeway or given the most time to perform and time to get his squad together, get his act together. Because we know just by looking at the loanees, just by looking at our bench and the over-bloated squad that we have and how many players we need to get out, I think it's kind of unfair to let Ange work with what we have when so many of these players need to be moved on, and we need massive upgrades in certain positions, whether that's on the bench or even in our starting 11. So I would say that Big Ange has maybe a lot more time on his hands compared to, say, the likes of Jose Mourinho or Conte or even Nuno for that matter. I would say that for him to be labeled as our most protected manager might be a bit unfair to him, because he has proven the first 3 months when he was with us. I mean, you don't win 3 consecutive Manager of the Month awards without your best player, with whom you just sold to Bayern Munich for nothing, I feel. And I would definitely give him time to shape this squad in his image, time to get the fringe players out, and even time, for that matter, maybe 2 or 3 windows to get the players that he wants, that can implement his system and carry out his footballing philosophy to its most effective best.
Yeah. Nick, do you think he's protected?
Well, I don't think he's protected. I don't think he's. I mean, there are sections of I guess we would say the fan base that would say, and all of that. So I'm not not really sure what is protected anymore, because ultimately you're going to be based on results, right? So people will say, look, he's been there a year. Everyone said give him a year. Now we got to see what happens in the summer, and then we got to see what happens till Christmas. And I think, look, on our day with our best 11, we can go toe to toe with anyone. It's just how we then take that step. I'm not, look, Jim will say what he says, and everyone knows Jim's feelings and everything else, and there'll be called a happy clap and everything else. But actually, until it's mathematically not possible, what Jim is saying is true, and he wants it to happen, and we all want it to happen. So just because Jim goes full out and says we're winning it next season, and some of us may say we're not sure, or let's wait till Christmas or wait till February, then look, I think it was. Yeah, I think I'm not. I don't know. I don't think it's the most protected. No, I think that you could argue Poch towards the end was probably more protected than maybe Andy's at the moment. But look, I guess everyone's opinion is valid, and people will either say yes or no. Either way, I don't think I think he's definitely got more stick for not changing it around, not adapting his tactics. But like we've all said before, I think. Ange will do what Ange does, and I don't think he'll listen to media or us on YouTube or anything else, right? So he'll do it his way, and that's his way, just like anyone else does in life. If you're in a job, I will always do the same thing that I've done for 15, 20 years, because that is how it's worked, and I've been successful. And people do that in their normal jobs. That kind of happens in Ange. Yes, there's slight tweaks, and you learn along the way, but the core values and the core things that you do are kind of static, right? I'm sure Chang's the same. I'm sure anyone in the chat who's doing it does all this. Jim, Kate, everything you've done in life, you've learned from your mistakes, and you've got the foundations that you kind of build on, right? And that, I guess that's how it needs to be.
Yeah. I don't understand what this means beyond disagree about leaving the players by all means, but claiming that some fans don't want to win something is nonsense, in my opinion. I don't know who said that, but I think that's nonsense as well. I think everybody wants to win something.
I don't know why he's come out with that, but I agree with it.
Yeah, I do. I think every fan, whether they... there's a lot of fans that want us to play entertaining football, but I think no matter what sort of football you play, every single proper fan, or every single fan full stop, wants to win something. That's what it's all about. I don't really understand what that means. What are your views on Tapsoba and Todibo, the French defender in place of Royal and Rondon Tanganga? Well, Rodon and Tanganga aren't getting a look in. Tapsoba, I still would think he would be brilliant for us, but I don't see it happening, because if Tapsoba comes in, then he's going to have to play second fiddle to our current defence.
I think Tapsoba's decided where he's going.
Has he?
I think so. I can't remember. I think it might be. Is it? And do you think it's? I think it's United. I read somewhere. If you look it up. I read somewhere that
I think he's a target. Yeah, he was a target last season for United.
Yeah.
I mean, it all depends. We still don't know what's happening with Ten Hag, do we? But yeah, I mean, look. I mean, I
read yesterday, Nick, it's practically a done deal. That's what I read.
Well, look, they need centre backs, right? I don't think. Look, I guess obviously I haven't seen a lot, but I guess based on last season, I think obviously obviously the talk all of last summer was Tapsoba or Van der Ven and the smoke screen and everything else. I think obviously Van der Ven had a far better season, and maybe this is time that Tapsoba needs to go somewhere that that he can kind of stand out a little bit. But look, there's a lot of young players that we that are around that have an opportunity. It's and you never know what's going to happen at the Euros, right? Someone can always come out. You think about that every year. There's always 2 or 3 breaking people that come out, breaking kids or anything else. But yeah, I think that it's probably. I don't think it's going to be for us. I think. Look, we've got what have we got? We've got Dragusin, Van der Ven, Romero, Adogi. So we probably need a replacement on the left-hand side. I don't think, yes, we can. Van der Ven stepped in for a couple of games, but I don't think that's the long-term plan with his hamstring injury. And the right back, we're probably a little bit light, but I guess it all depends on how far we go in these competitions. if we get knocked out in the first round like last season, then there's not going to be many more games than there was last season, apart from Europe. So,
apparently, Jean-Claire Todibo is the one that Man United want this season. Is that right? That's what I'm reading. Yeah, that's what I'm reading. So Jim Ratcliffe that's who he wants. But we'll say big up Smithy. Good to see you. Hope you're well, my love. And also, woo! Phil P's in the house. Good to see you, because that hurt my throat doing that. I'd just like to point out. Van der Berg is a better fit for Spurs if we wanted another centre back. Todibo not tap sober.
All right.
Beyond says, I work from home, sit on many different Spurs channels. I've heard that directed at Levy out fans. They want Spurs to fail just to be right and help their channels. Oh, okay. I actually heard certain podcasts saying that Tottenham fans only want us to play well. They don't want us to win. But I think if you've got every Tottenham fan in the whole world in a room, every single one of us is desperate to win.
Cool.
Yes, need backup for Saliba and he'd be perfect. Ellie's saying she wants us to win 4 trophies at the start of every season. So like Kuva, I'm up for the quad until it's not on. I'd love to win 4, but just 1 will do. Breaking Kids. What's that?
I think I said Breaking Kids come through at the Euros. I don't know. I wasn't talking about Breaking Kids.
Oh, right.
I'm a bit worried that that's all you heard, Phil, if I'm honest. But there you go.
Obviously, the Gallagher rumour is not going away, although I did read the other day he's being awkward and being very picky about which clubs he goes to. And I personally think that means he doesn't want to come to Spurs because he's proper Chelsea. So
yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Kate. But I think if we look at, I think if you then sit there and you say, what have we got in midfield? We've got Bentancur, Basuma, Sarr, Eze, Maddison, Kulu. I don't think he's potentially then Johnson, Werner, Sonny. I guess I don't know what position you say. Is that a left midfield or is it? I don't know. Whatever. I'm not qualified in positions, but I think there's enough there now, right? And obviously Skip's going. That if Eze does come in, that means that probably Oliver Skip will go, which I think it'll be good. I thought 2 or 3 years ago he might have had the opportunity, but you've seen Sarr get ahead of him now and everything else, right? So yeah, look, it'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see what happens. But I think he probably thinks, maybe I'm not going to be a starter. I want to be a starter, or I deserve to be a starter. We don't know what goes on in the background, right? We don't know what goes on. So probably everyone else knows what's going on and everything else. So they probably think. Actually, I'm not going to be a potential baller and everything else. But it's going to be interesting. We got a lot of midfielders. We just need to, like I said, the attack still, the striker, and then the wing backs, or essential wing backs is what they are. So.
Yeah. Any other transfers anyone wants to mention before we go? No.
I
think Bruno's the strange one. Bruno to Bayern Munich.
I think that's strange as well, Nick.
Yeah, we did say that. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, there was an announcement by Fabrizio Romano that Antonio Conte has indeed given a here we go that he will be joining Napoli. So Victor Osimhen, the player that we were speaking about earlier, the striker, he will be linking up with Antonio Conte over at Napoli for next season.
Yeah, I was just going to say what.
Sorry, can I just say to Angus, he said earlier that I think we're going to finish above Liverpool, Arsenal and City. Right? Mm. I said I think we're going to win the league, yeah. So mathematically that means yes, we're going to finish above all 3 of you.
Bless Jim. Jim's back to his deluded self.
You need to push him down the stairs again, Kate. I mean it might
I think he does.
Into thing,
I like I say, I read a lot about Bruno being linked with Bayern Munich, but John James said he thinks he's just trying to get a new contract with better money. But Man United definitely need to sell before they can buy. So it just, I suppose, depends whether they consider Bruno to be integral in their plans or if they'd rather have someone like Elise there. It'd be interesting to see. I'd love to see Bruno leave the Premier League. I'm not a fan of his at all. I think he's a horrible little rat player. I'm sure I'd love him if he played for us.
Miss
But
Kate,
I don't like him.
Sorry, Miss Kate, but there is some breaking news over at Fabrizio Romano's social media. Fabrizio Romano has just given the here we go for Ross Barkley to move from Luton Town to Aston Villa. The fee is going to be around £5 million. So it's an exclusive here we go by Fabrizio Romano stating that Ross Barkley will move to Aston Villa from Luton Town. So that's another player for Unai Emery.
I think that's a brilliant signing for Villa if they can get the Ross Barkley of this season.
Great. It's great for Luton as well. £5 million.
£5 million.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, Villa obviously being in the Champions League, he's got experience. He was brilliant last season, so I think that's a shrewd bit of business there by Villa. But anyway, I'm going to go because I'm going into Ben's time and I've set up a redirect. But Chang, have you got anything lined up? When can we see you next?
So currently, I have not worked out anything with Queen Ellie over at LTL Cockerel and Talk and Ball. But if we do, or rather if I do get it done with her, we are scheduled to appear on Wednesdays at noon over at LTL Cockerel and Talk and Ball. Although I have to check with both Colin and Jose on whether that's happening. And beyond that, I'm looking to start shows as well with Eugene over on Spursration TV. Currently, I'm just limiting myself to members call-in show, whether that's going to be on Mia's Spurs Between the Lines or on Mr. Alan Clark's Time Added On. Currently, I have nothing on my schedule for the foreseeable future. So thank you very much for having me on again, Ms. Kate and Mr. James, and back to you.
I believe Nick is joining us on Friday for a show, which you are welcome to come on as well, Chang, if you would like. It'll be the same sort of time. If you're up for that.
More than happy to be on. More than happy to be back again on Friday.
Excellent. Have you got anything planned, Nicholas?
Well, Friday could be interesting because the Euro squad needs to be trimmed down by 7 by Friday, and England are playing Iceland. So, yeah, for me at the moment, it looks like Maddison's going to miss out, like Porro did, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing in terms of for us. So, yeah, we'll find out Friday whether Southgate waits until the final moments. I was just reading it now. So it says deadline of Friday. So it's unclear whether, I guess it'll be Thursday he has to announce it, or the players missing. The players that will face Iceland will have the disappointment of missing out because obviously there is a lot of injuries right around the squad. So we don't have a left back and everything else. So it'd be interesting to see who makes the final cut.
Well, we will discuss that on Friday then. There'll be, because I was thinking, I don't know what the show's going to be about, but yeah, of course, the Euros are coming round at a rate of knots, so we'll be able to talk about the final England team. And I agree. I think if Maddison misses out, I don't think that's a bad thing, and I think it might get him to kick his arse.
I don't think he deserves it. If you look at who's he going to go in, instead of Saka, Palmer, Foden, Bellingham, Mainu, Rice. He don't get in ahead. I mean, obviously, Mainu and Rice play a slightly different position, but he don't get in apart from those other four. No chance.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, my husband does look brown. He's one of these very lucky people with his half Maltese that he goes brown. I have just got various red parts of my body after spending all day in the swimming pool yesterday. There was some sore heads yesterday, so it's a very chilled day out in the sun.
I never had a sore head.
Well, no, but you was Captain Sensible. That's why. Our party started at 4 and didn't finish till 4 o'clock the next morning. So it was a long old party. I didn't know I still had it in me to party that long, but you know
What was it? What was it, like an A-listers celebrity party or something? It was
Yeah,
all
all the old Tottenham players. A few. Kim Kardashian popped in. Kanye
Yeah.
West was there. You know, the usual
Okay.
crowd.
That might have been a bit awkward then.
Yeah, it was a little bit awkward, but we kept them separate. I'm not sure when we're back, Jimbo. We're back Friday. I don't know if we'll be back before then because we've got Blue Water to go to this week and Chessington we're going to this week. So, yeah, we promised
VIP.
Yeah, VIP maybe. Yeah, well, invitation next time, Phil. Next time we have a pool party, you're invited. But yes, we will be back Friday at 12, whatever happens. Massive thank you. Let me just say massive thank you to Bobby K for the super chat, to Phil Coys for being a member for a month, and also Martin Knightsbridge for the super chat. Thank you.
And have a safe journey, Martin.
Yeah, and have a safe trip
if you're
back.
listening, Martin, send me a message when you get home.
Yes, and thank you to the 11 new subscribers today. You're all legends. Have a brilliant afternoon, and we will see you at Worst Ways Friday. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you.
Come on, you Spurs.